The coffin was being lowered into the wet earth when Daniel stepped away from the crowd. Not to cry, but to answer the phone. Isabella gripped the umbrella tightly, feeling the cold rain hit her face. 6 months pregnant, her body heavy, her ankles swollen. And now, burying the only person who had truly loved her. Her mother, Helena Montero. The woman who had worked as a cleaning lady for 30 years. Who woke up at 4 in the morning to clean offices before the sun rose. Who wore the same clothes until they were worn out. Who never complained, never asked for help, never showed exhaustion. Isabella looked around. Few people had come. Old neighbors, a few of her mother's co-workers, the local church priest. Daniel stood 5 meters away, with his back turned, speaking softly on the phone. He hadn't even held her hand during the ceremony. "Sorry, love, it was work," he said, returning with an irritated expression. "At my mother's funeral? I know. But there are things that can't wait." Isabella didn't answer. She didn't have the energy to argue. Not today. When everyone left, she remained alone in front of the grave. The rain had stopped, but the sky was still gray. She placed her hand on her belly, feeling the baby move. "Grandma would have loved you," she whispered. 3 days later, Isabella was in the kitchen making tea when Daniel walked into the living room with a serious expression. "We need to talk." She felt her heart race. Something in his tone was wrong. About what? He took a deep breath, as if he had rehearsed it. "I want a divorce." The world stopped. Isabella set the cup down on the sink. "What?" "I can't take it anymore, Isabella. We don't work. You're always tired, always complaining, always dependent. I need someone who supports me, who understands my career. I'm 6 months pregnant. My mother just died. I know. And that's why I'm being honest now. I don't want to pretend anymore." Isabella felt her legs weaken. She grabbed the chair so she wouldn't fall. "Is there someone else?" Daniel hesitated. That was enough. "There is. It's Camila. My partner at the firm. We connected in a way I never felt with you." Camila. The beautiful, confident lawyer, always impeccable. Isabella had met her at work dinners. She always smiled politely, but there was something cold in that smile. "How long? Does it matter?" "To me, yes. 8 months. 8 months. Isabella had been at the beginning of the pregnancy when it all started. When she was nauseous, vulnerable, needing support. He was with someone else. "You're a coward," she said, her voice trembling. "I'm being honest. Would you rather I stay here lying? Pretending I still love you?" Those words cut deep. Isabella felt hot tears run down her face. "Get out of my house. It's my house too. But I already have my bags packed. My lawyer will get in touch. We'll sort everything out civilly." He left the room and returned with 2 suitcases. Isabella couldn't move. She was frozen, watching the man she had married 4 years earlier simply walk away. At the door, Daniel turned around. "Isabella, you'll be fine. Your mother left you something, didn't she? Some money saved?" She looked at him with contempt. "Get out." He shrugged and closed the door. Isabella collapsed onto the couch, sobbing. The house was empty, silent, cold. She was alone. Completely alone. 2 days later, she received a call. "Ms. Isabella Montero? This is Roberto Almeida, from the firm Almeida and Associates. I am the lawyer responsible for your mother's estate, Helena Montero. We need to schedule an urgent meeting." "My mother didn't have anything, sir. She was a cleaning lady." "Ms. Montero, please. I need you to come to the office tomorrow at 10 o'clock. It's about her inheritance." "Inheritance?" "Yes. And it's important that you come alone." Isabella hung up the phone, confused. What inheritance? Her mother lived on minimum wage. Maybe she had saved some money, perhaps 1 or 2,000 reis. It would be some help, at least. She looked around the empty house. Daniel had taken almost everything. Even the good pots. She placed her hand on her belly and felt the baby kick. "Just me and you now, my love." And if you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave in the comments what you thought and which city or country you're watching from. The next day, Isabella walked into the law office in the city center. The receptionist led her down a corridor with walls covered in dark wood into a spacious room. Roberto Almeida was a man in his 60s, gray-haired, impeccably dressed in a suit. He stood up and shook her hand firmly. "Mrs. Montero, thank you for coming. Please, have a seat." Isabella settled into the leather chair, feeling small in that sophisticated environment. The lawyer opened a thick folder on the desk. "Before we begin, I need to confirm, did you come alone?" "Yes. My husband and I are separating." "I see. That's for the best." He adjusted his glasses and looked directly at her. "Mrs. Montero, your mother, Helena Montero, left very clear instructions on how to proceed after her death. And she also left something for you." "How much? A few thousand?" Roberto smiled slightly. "Not exactly. Your mother left you the amount of 3.7 billion reis." Isabella blinked. She thought she had heard wrong. "Excuse me, how many thousand?" "Billion. 3.7 billion reis." Silence filled the room. Isabella felt her throat go dry. "This is a mistake. My mother was a cleaning lady. Your mother was Helena Montero Carvalho, the sole heir to the Carvalho family fortune. Your grandfather, Augusto Carvalho, built an empire in real estate and investments. When he passed away 15 years ago, your mother inherited everything. But she cleaned offices. She wore old clothes. We lived in a simple apartment. She chose to live that way. For you." Roberto slid a sealed letter across the desk. "She left this. She asked that you read it here, in my presence." With trembling hands, Isabella opened the envelope. Her mother's handwriting was there, clear and firm. "My dear Isabella, if you are reading this, I am already gone. And I know you must be confused. Let me explain. I was born rich. Very rich. But I saw what money does to people. I saw my own father destroy relationships, by false loyalties, live surrounded by opportunists. When you were born, I made a decision. You would grow up knowing real values. Work, humility, character. I kept the fortune in absolute secrecy. I lived as a cleaning lady to teach you that dignity cannot be bought. Now, you have everything. But you also have something more important. You know who truly loves you. Daniel never knew about the money. If he stayed by your side until now, it was for love. If he didn't, well, you already know the kind of man he is. Use this fortune wisely, my daughter. Protect your baby. Live free. And never forget, you were always rich. You just didn't know it. With eternal love, Mom." Isabella let the letter fall, her tears blurring the words. She looked at the lawyer, incredulous. "He left me 3 days after the funeral." Roberto shook his head, unsurprised. "Your mother anticipated that. That's why she placed everything in an irrevocable trust. No spouse can claim any part of the inheritance. It is legally protected. Daniel has no right to a single cent." Isabella felt something strange grow inside her. It wasn't anger. It was clarity. "He doesn't know, does he?" "No one knows. Except me, you, and the bank. Your mother was extremely discreet. The fortune is divided into investments, properties, stocks. All in her name, now transferred to you. And what do I do now? Whatever you want. You can keep living as before. You can change everything. The choice is yours." Isabella left the office in a state of shock. 3.7 billion. The mother she thought was poor was one of the richest women in the country. And no one knew. She got into the old car, the same one she had been driving for 5 years, and sat there, motionless, thinking. Daniel had left her believing she was broke, vulnerable, with no way out. Camila was probably laughing at her at that very moment. Isabella picked up her phone. There were messages from Daniel's lawyer. "We need to schedule a meeting to divide assets. Daniel is requesting half of the apartment and temporary alimony considering your financial situation." She read it again. Alimony. He wanted her to pay alimony to him. She took a deep breath. She wasn't going to respond now. Not in this state. She drove to her mother's old home. The small apartment, simple furniture, walls with water damage. She entered slowly, breathing in the familiar smell. Everything was just as her mother had left it. She went to the bedroom and opened the closet. Simple, worn clothes. At the back, she found a shoebox. Inside, old photos. One caught her attention, her mother young, elegant, in a gala dress, beside an imposing man. On the back, it read, "Me and Dad Charity Gala, 1985. Isabella had never seen her mother like that. Confident. Powerful. She slipped the photo into her pocket. She left the apartment and returned home. Sat on the empty couch, placed her hand on her belly. Your grandmother was incredible. And she left us a gift, my love. But we're not going to waste it. We're going to use it with dignity." She picked up her phone and typed a reply to Daniel's lawyer. "You can schedule it. I'm ready to settle everything." But before sending it, she deleted it. Not yet. There was something she needed to do first. Isabella spent the next few days in absolute silence. She told no one. She didn't change her appearance. She continued wearing the same clothes, driving the same car, living in the same house. But inside, she was planning. She returned to Roberto Almeida's office with a list of questions. He answered each one patiently. "I want to understand everything. Every investment, every property, every account. Of course. I'll provide complete reports. And I want to hire a team. Divorce lawyers. The best." Roberto smiled discreetly. "I already have names to recommend." Isabella spent weeks studying. She learned about stocks, funds, real estate. She discovered that her mother owned commercial buildings in 3 states, stakes in technology companies, a diversified investment portfolio. All managed in secrecy by a competent team that never questioned Helena's orders. Meanwhile, Daniel kept sending messages through his lawyer. Each one bolder than the last. Daniel requests a monthly alimony of 5,000 reis until he can re-establish himself professionally. Isabella almost laughed. He earned well as a lawyer. But he wanted more. He always had. One afternoon, she received a call from an unknown number. "Hello? Isabella? This is Camila." Her blood ran cold. "What do you want?" "Look, I know you probably hate me. But we need to talk like adults. Daniel told me you're making the divorce difficult." "I'm not making it difficult at all. He just wants what's fair. You built a life together. He's entitled to half." "Half of what?" "He took everything when he left. The apartment is worth something. And he deserves financial support. You know how hard it is to start over." Isabella took a deep breath, controlling her anger. "Camila, do you really want to have this conversation? You, who were with my husband while I was pregnant. That has nothing to do with it. Business is business. Then deal with my lawyer. Business is business." She hung up the phone, hands shaking. Camila had courage. A lot of courage. That night, Isabella went to the mirror. She looked at herself. 6 months pregnant, her face tired, eyes swollen from crying. But something had changed. She was no longer the broken woman from the funeral. She was Helena Montero's daughter. She picked up the phone and called Roberto. "I want to sign the divorce papers. But on my terms." "I'm listening." "He wants half the apartment?" "He can have everything. I want to walk away clean. No fights, no long legal battles. I'll sign whatever he wants." "Are you sure?" "Absolutely. But I want a clause. He can never claim anything related to my family. No inheritance, no property, nothing. And a total waiver of any future rights to my financial situation. That's easy to include. He'll accept quickly if he thinks he's getting the advantage." "Perfect." 2 days later, Isabella was sitting in a meeting room. Daniel entered with Camila by his side. She looked impeccable, straight hair, expensive suit, confident smile. He looked uncomfortable. "Hi, Isabella." "Hi." Daniel's lawyer presented the terms. Isabella read them silently, signing each page without hesitation. "Done. The apartment is yours. I don't want anything else." Daniel exchanged a glance with Camila. She smiled, satisfied. "I appreciate you being reasonable," he said. Isabella just nodded. She tucked her copy of the documents and stood to leave. "Isabella," Daniel called. "Will you be okay?" She looked at him. Really looked. The man she had loved. The man who abandoned her at her worst moment. I'll be great. She left the room without looking back. In the car, she allowed herself to smile. Daniel had just signed a document that prevented him from touching her fortune ever again. He gave up everything thinking he was winning a middle-class apartment. In the following weeks, Isabella began making subtle changes. Nothing flashy. She hired a private nurse to monitor her pregnancy. Enrolled in courses on wealth management. Started attending discreet meetings with financial advisors. Roberto helped her create a plan. Your mother had social projects she never got to execute. She wanted to build daycare centers, fund scholarships, create programs for single mothers. It's all documented here. Isabella read the plans, moved. We'll do it. Everything. It will draw attention. Not if it's done in her name. Helena Montero Institute. The public face doesn't need to be mine. While organizing everything, Isabella learned from an acquaintance that Daniel and Camila had scheduled a wedding 2 months away. Big party, long guest list. She felt nothing. Neither anger nor sadness. Just indifference. One night, alone at home, she felt light contractions. It wasn't time yet, but the baby was active. She placed her hand on her belly. Almost there, my love. Soon you'll see the world. And I promise, you'll grow up knowing who really matters. It's not money. It's the people who stay when everything falls apart. She looked at the photo of her young mother, still attached to the fridge. Thank you, Mom. For everything. And for the first time in months, Isabella slept in peace. The baby was born on a Saturday morning, 3 weeks before Daniel and Camila's wedding. A girl. Healthy, perfect, with big, curious eyes. Isabella held her in her arms, crying with happiness. Welcome, Helena. You have the name of the strongest woman I've ever known. The private medical team ensured all necessary comfort. Private room, attentive nurses, experienced doctors. But Isabella requested absolute discretion. No publications, no public record beyond what was necessary. Daniel sent a short message when he found out. Congratulations. Hope everything is well. She didn't respond. 2 weeks later, Isabella was at home with her daughter when Roberto called. We have a problem. What happened? Daniel discovered the Helena Montero Institute. He's asking questions. How? Someone mentioned it at a party, saying they knew of a new initiative with that name. He associated it with your mother's name and started investigating. Isabella felt her heart race. He knows about the money? Not yet. But he's close. He hired a private investigator. What do we do? Nothing. Everything is legally protected. He can't touch anything. But he will find out that you're not who he thought you were. Isabella took a deep breath. Then let him find out. 3 days before Daniel's wedding, he appeared at her door. Alone. Face red, eyes wide. You lied to me. Isabella was holding her daughter. She opened the door just enough for him to see. Lied how? Your mother was rich. A billionaire. And you never told me. I didn't know. Lies. You knew and hid it from me. Daniel, lower your voice. My daughter is sleeping. He looked at the baby, then back at her. You signed that divorce knowing you had billions. Made me look like an idiot. I signed because I didn't want anything else with you. Money was never the issue. Camila said you had a plan. That you were hiding something. Isabella almost laughed. Camila is worried about what you'll bring to the wedding, isn't she? Found out you left an heiress to be with a debt-ridden lawyer? Daniel went pale. How do you know? I'm not an idiot, Daniel. I investigated her too. Credit card debts, 2 financed cars, rented apartment. She was living a life she couldn't afford. And she thought you would be her golden ticket. That doesn't change anything. I have a right. You have no right to anything. You signed a document renouncing any property related to my family. Remember? Your lawyer reviewed it line by line. Daniel clenched his fists. I'll sue. I'll prove you deceived me. Sue. Spend your money on lawyers. You'll lose. Because I didn't hide anything from you. I discovered the inheritance after you abandoned me. After the funeral. Remember? You were busy on the phone with your mistress. He went silent, processing. You used me. No, Daniel. You used yourself. Thought I was weak, poor, dependent. You left me at the worst moment because you didn't see my value. And you know what my mother did? She taught me that people like you always show who they really are when they think they have nothing left to gain. Isabella. The wedding is in 3 days, right? Go. Marry her. Be happy with the apartment you wanted so badly. I have everything I need. She closed the door in his face. Inside, she heard him shout, bang on the door, demand she open it. After a few minutes, he left. Isabella sat on the couch, holding her daughter to her chest. Her hands trembled, but not from fear. From relief. 2 days later, Roberto called again. Daniel canceled the wedding. What? Camila broke up with him. Sent a message saying she wouldn't marry a man who let billions slip away out of stupidity. Isabella remained silent. And there's more. He tried to sue to annul the divorce. Claimed coercion. The judge denied it in 20 minutes. Said he was represented by a lawyer, signed voluntarily, and there's no evidence of fraud. So it's over then. Over. He can't do anything else. Isabella hung up and looked out the window. Outside, the sun shone brightly. She placed her daughter in the crib and picked up the photo of her mother. You were right. He showed who he really was. And now I know exactly what to do with everything you left me. That night, Isabella slept deeply. No fear, no anger, no doubt. Free. 6 months later, Isabella was at the inauguration of the first Helena Montero Institute Center, a modern building in the neighborhood where her mother had worked for years. Free daycare, vocational courses, legal assistance for single mothers. She held little Helena in her arms while cutting the ribbon. Dozens of women applauded. Many cried. Some had known Isabella's mother personally. My mother cleaned offices her whole life, Isabella said into the microphone. But she was so much more than that. She was a woman who understood the value of real things. And today, we honor her legacy by helping other women have the opportunities she fought to give me. After the ceremony, Roberto approached. Your mother would be proud. I know. I feel her with me every day. And you? How are you? Isabella looked at her daughter, who was playing with her own fingers. I'm good. Really. For the first time in a long time, I'm building something that matters. That week, she learned from an acquaintance that Daniel was working at a small office, far from downtown. Camila had moved to another city after the scandal. People were talking. Gossiping. He had become the man who left a billionaire. Isabella felt no pity. No satisfaction. Only indifference. One day, she was at the supermarket with her daughter when she saw him. Daniel was at the checkout, paying for basic groceries. He looked tired, older. He saw her too. Frozen. Isabella merely waved politely and kept walking. He ran after her in the parking lot. Isabella, wait. She stopped, placing her daughter in the car seat. What is it, Daniel? I just wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. I know. No, you don't understand. I lost everything. Camila, my reputation, my clients. Everyone knows what I did. And the worst part is, I deserved it. Isabella looked him in the eyes. You didn't lose everything, Daniel. You chose what had value to you at that moment. And discovered too late that you were wrong. I was an idiot. I had something precious and threw it away. It wasn't the money that was precious. It was me. It was our family. But you only saw that when you noticed the zeros in the account. He lowered his head. Can you forgive me? Isabella took a deep breath. I already forgave. Not for you. For me. Because holding on to anger would only hurt me. But forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. And it definitely doesn't mean going back. I know. I just wanted you to know that I acknowledge my mistake. Acknowledging is a start. Now you need to live with the consequences and become a better person. Not for me. For yourself. She got into the car and drove away. In the rearview mirror, she saw Daniel standing in the parking lot, alone. When she got home, she put her daughter to sleep and sat on the couch with a cup of tea. She picked up the journal she had started writing. It was for Helena, for when she grew up. She wrote, My dear daughter, today I saw your father. He apologized. And I forgave. Not because he deserved it, but because I deserved peace. Your grandmother taught me that the true value of a person isn't in what they possess, but in what they do when no one is watching. Your father showed me who he really was when he thought I had nothing to offer. And that, my daughter, was the greatest gift he could give me. Because it set me free. Now we are building a life based on purpose, not appearances. You will grow up knowing strong, hard-working, dignified women. You will learn that wealth without character is empty. And that true love stays, even when everything falls apart. Your grandmother hid billions to teach me this lesson. And it worked. Now, I will pass this on to you. Not through secrets, but through example. I love you more than anything, Mom. She closed the journal and looked out the window. The moon was full, lighting up the night. Isabella smiled. It wasn't the ending she had imagined for her life. It was better. Because she had discovered something no amount of money could buy, who she truly was. A strong, capable, dignified woman. Daughter of Helena Montero. Mother of Helena Montero. And that was everything. True wealth was never in billions. It had always been in character, in choices, in the dignity to move forward even when everything seemed lost. Her mother was right. She had always been rich. She just didn't know it. But now she knew. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment with what you thought and which city or country you're watching from. Your participation makes all the difference. Until the next story.